Hello everyone, and today in Property Brand Startup Stories we have Mr. Tejbir Anand from Mumbai Angels, and we have a lot of excitement, a lot of queries to be answered, and we would love to hear from you. Welcome to our show, sir.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm enjoying the weather in Bhubaneswar, and we at Mumbai Angels are very excited to be here and look at all these brilliant startups and the founders.
I would like to ask, as an investor, as Mumbai Angels, how do you analyze the startups? How do you choose? Is there any fixed area that you work upon, or the kind of idea or founder? What excites you more?
So just to give a background, we receive around 300 to 400 startup proposals every month, and out exactly. So out of which we also filter out 280 of them, and we pick and choose only 10 to 15 of them. And this is done via an algorithm that we built up over a past 7 to 8 years of experience in this market. And what that does is that we rate the founders on a lot of parameters. There are around 20-25 parameters. Some of which would probably answer your question is the product type, the target market size, the product market fit, the scalability of the model, the business viability, unit economics, and more importantly, one of the key things is the founder's experience in that particular sector. And if we see that the founder is coming off with, let's say, 10 to 20 years of experience in that particular sector, has identified a problem and now identified a solution as well. These are the kind of startups that we're looking at, wherein the founder has an exact vision about what he wants to do with the startup and how does he want to take it forward.
Also, I would like to ask, when the startups come to you, where do you find most of the startups need your support in terms of right guidance? See, investment is of course a part of it, but then because founder starts in initial days, founder has to do a lot of things, and many of them are not expert in multiple, because running a company involves a lot of compliances, a lot of other things, right? So where do you think most of the startups need a major help or correction?
So we at Mumbai Angels, we don't only act as investors, we also act as mentors to these startups. So, when startups come to us for raising, let's say, a seed round or a next round, obviously we help them out a lot when it comes to, deciding an SHA agreement, what kind of clauses should be looked at. We also try to protect the investors' confidence as well. So we have to take care of our investors as well in terms of, are they getting the right deal or no. Valuation is something that probably we look at very closely, because there are some times that founders unfortunately try to inflate the valuation a lot. So we have to bring them down to earth and say, what, this won't fly on the network. So we also have created a multiplier program for all our portfolio startups. There are more than 20 to 30 consultants and a lot of HR consultants, financial consultants, virtual CFOs, people giving services to these startups at discounted rates only for MA portfolio. So we also create that backbone for them, because as you rightly said, that the founder needs to concentrate on his startup, and once he gets bogged down with all these other things is where he loses a lot of traction. His time should be more spent on developing the product and marketing the product rather than looking at the financial side of things. So we help out a lot with the multiplier program as well. Startups who want to hire a virtual CFO, we get that done. We refer them. Startups who want to hire a CEO, we also have a startup company called Zing HR who we've invested in. They help them out with that as well. So it's all taken care of, and we act not only as the investors but mentors and probably an incubator as well.
So it is more about creating the entire support system, as you said, financial support you're providing. Then in manpower is a major area where many people, many startups
Absolutely.
require right help. So how do you see the difference in the startups coming from tier 1 cities and tier 2 or tier 3 cities?
So tier one cities, obviously, more commercialized startups, more tech-based, more SaaS-based. Not that tier two and three cities don't have that, but they are trying to, look at more of the business side of things. And there are a lot of cultural differences between a tier one and two, three, four city startup, right? Uh, we've seen a lot of startups from the tier two, three, four cities coming in who faced a problem in their own city, uh, and they are trying to now solve that problem via their startups. So from the tier 2 and 3 4 cities, you will see startups who are actually trying to solve a problem in their particular town and in these particular cities. And let's not forget, majority of the population is staying in these tier 2 3 4 cities, so the market is really big. And sorry and the market is really big, and that is where our investors all are also looking at this particular market. They want to invest in such startups as well. So it's going to be exciting times for such startups, and I see a lot of funding happening in these startups more than the tier 1 cities.
Of course, because as you rightly said, majority of population, is staying in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and they are suffering from all these issues, whichever they are trying to solve every day. So that is a major concern area. I would also like to add, what are the things, like of course funding is one of the important thing. If even after you fund a startup, what are the things meanwhile? Do you get into the board of the company, or
So we negotiate a board director and a board absorber seats in most of our startups that we invest in early stage. So MA has to give you an example, we are a group of 750 investors who invest into these startups that we present to them. So every investor who's investing into a particular startup goes on the cap table of that particular startup. So they are not going via fund. They have a skin in the game. They are a part of the team now. They are part of the SHA. So we then decide along with the startup to whom to provide a board seat. So usually these boards, people who get the board seat, the investors, they are people who have that kind of an experience in that particular domain or the sector, and can add a lot of value to that startup, probably get them business also through their connections. So we make that choice very wisely, and we appoint a member as well as a board observer who help grow the business as well. So for an investor who's going on the board seat, who gets the board seat as well, has more incentive now to make his own money grow, right? So he's investing the money, and then he's also on the board, and he is a part of the decision making process, and he also grows the business by giving his references.
how can of course the startups approach you, and what are the key areas? You already mentioned that you take into account a lot of things. So what are the key areas precisely that that is a part of your selection process?
So we are fairly much available. A startup can visit our site and just drop us an email at pitch@mumbaiangels.com, and you can also submit your idea or pitch deck on our website as well. So we are fairly approachable and reachable on that terms. That's why we get around 300 to 400 proposals. Key thing what we look at is obviously the product. Firstly, is there any patent that has been granted to that particular product? The target market size is very important, because if it's a niche product, it's even more difficult because where target size of the market reduces. And also we look at a proof of concept. So 5 to 7 years back, it was easier to get idea stage funding, but now we need some sort of traction, because the investors need some sort of traction. So we need proof of concept, how many sales have been done. So there should be some traction in the business. And most importantly, the founder is the key here. So the founder needs to believe in his vision and then articulate the same to the investors.
Thank you. It was I would say it was a very precise and right discussion with you. I hope the audience will get the right answers. It is more important for them to even realize, right, what it is about meeting the investors and what do exactly they look for which is, I believe, sometimes covered under the shadow of a lot of encouragement and motivation. Of course, there is a need for a lot of people coming into entrepreneurship, or you talk of business, but then there is also important that they carry the responsibility of being into the business. They have to carry themselves, the families, and the other things also matter. So thank you.
So I would just say, to end with that execution is key. So you can have a great idea, but if you're not able to execute it, then it's actually not going anywhere. But execution is key, and I think founders need to have that vision of 4 years or 5 years down the line, and that is what actually gives the confidence to the investors.
So every startup these days needs to focus on, I would say, the proof of the concept, some revenue, traction, and as he rightly said that execution is the key. So thank you. It was a nice talk with you. Thank you.